Welcome back to Livie'S Lovelies, your inspirational craft channel, and I'm your host, Fam the Fabulous. For more ideas, inspiration, swaps, and challenges, click the link in the description below to join our craft community, the Maker Exchange, on Facebook. Okay, so what we have here is just your garden variety packaging. This is actually some spicy Jamaican beef patties from Walmart. They are delicious. And let's see, two of them come in a pack. So I'm just letting y'all see the size of the box, right? So the size of the box is roughly 8 inches, almost 8 inches. So 7 3/4 by, good Lord. Okay, let's see, 6 inches, 6 and an eighth. So it's actually 7 7/8 by 6 1/8. Okay, and it opens up. Now, what I noticed when I was getting ready to put this in the garbage was that you got this corner. So if I cut this right here, these are two identical pieces of cardboard with the exception of this part right here that connects it to here. Okay, so my thought was, what if I cut that off, that off, that off, and this off, right? It'll leave us with this, 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 and this for both of them, right? This part can be used to insert into a journal, like a flap you tuck in, sew it in or glue it in. And the top and the bottom can be used to, because it's already folded, to house some extraness inside. So that's what I'm thinking I want to do with this. I want to use this trash to create some form of a journal treasure. All right, so that's something you guys are interested in. Go grab some scraps and craft along with me. All right, stay tuned. Okay, so I am going to take this gesso that I've used in other projects here on the channel, and I'm just going to cover this side, and I'll likely cover this side off camera, but I'm just going to cover this one side. I haven't cut it apart yet. Maybe I should do that. Let me do that. Let me go ahead and cut off some of the excess. So I need this, that. I don't need this or that. All right, let me get that off of here. No sense in wasting the gesso on that. Not that it's that much, but whatever. Yeah. There is a frog right outside of our family room. And it must just be like in the windowsill because I can hear it. It's so loud and it's absolutely annoying. I also need to pull off this excess where the glue joined the sides and some of the paper didn't lift off properly. Probably need to get that off of there already so it doesn't create any bulk. Okay, now I covered my workspace because I'm also working on non-crafty related projects. I got a couple of frames that I'm redoing. Well, wall art I should say, that I'm redoing for my bedroom. Because I'm trying to make it a little bit more glam and bring some glam into that area. I may bring it onto the channel, I'm not sure. But for now, I'm just covering my desk space. So you might see it in a few videos, I'm not sure. My workspace, I should say. Gosh, I wish there was an easy way to get this off of here. This will likely get covered up. Anyways, let me see if I got something I can pull this off a little easier because my nails are so fragile, as y'all can see, which is why I don't do a whole lot of, maybe I should paint them. Maybe that might bring a little bit more support, protect them a little bit more. That ain't working. Okay, make sure there's none anywhere else. And this is a little bit raggedy, but maybe I should glue that. I'm going to go ahead and glue that down. And then flip it over and gesso the other side. All right. Yeah, because I don't want that to be too thin. I would have just torn it off, but probably best to keep it intact. All right. Can y'all see? Is it? We got good. Sometimes this camera will pop up or it'll get out of focus, and I'll be rambling and y'all won't have any idea what's going on over here. Okay. Okay. All right. Clean that off. Okay, so I'm working on coat number 2. So on both sides. And I am going to, my thought was to cut here on this line, right? I'm just going to do one for now on camera. Probably could have just used a blade, but I didn't. Now, let's look at the size of this. What I would like is for I want this to serve as a signature. So there'll be something on this side. And possibly this on this side. We're going to see how that works out. But the important part is that these flaps will be useful. These parts of the flap. Because I can, you'll see. You'll see. Just a moment. Be patient, folks. Patient. Okay. All right. So first things first, let's cut off a bit of that, because that's in the way. Okay. That's all in the way. We don't really need it. No how. We need clearance. Full clearance. And probably need to pull off some of this, just so I can get the visual. Okay, so if we have this like this, right? That's a good size. Now the problem is that it's too long. So how do we get around it? We're gonna have to cut some off. Okay. Let me just confirm my thoughts on that. All right, so this sticks out here. I want it to be no bigger. I want it to be, this goes there. This is gonna need to go be about that wide. Maybe that wide. Oh. Okay. So let's get the ruler and line this baby up. Come on. Turn it the other way because it's a little easier to run this through the Cuttlebug when I realized that it probably would be easier for me to go ahead and put one of the papers on the top of here before I get started, so that I won't have to just barely fit too, so that I won't have to piece it around the hole. So that's what I'm gonna, and also once it cuts out, at least I'll have a cutout that's actually decorated. So that is what I'm going to do. I was going to use this one, but it has a line through it for the journaling page, so I'm just going to go ahead and use this. Okay, so let's do a quick recap. So what I did here, and I'm going to tell you what I've found to be the issue during this process. We went from this to this. And again, this is going to go inside of the journal, like so. Okay. There's a little flap right here that I'm going to attach something else to so that this part can be sewn into the as a signature, one signature. All right, so my intention is to see if I can find a simple piece of paper, something simple, real simple. Back this like that with some type of paper that coordinates, pink probably. Okay, and then have this serve as a side pocket for a tag. That'll have a nice focal piece. All right, like that pink Cadillac. Okay, so let me just share with you what issues I had. Number one, when I glued this front piece of paper down, I used wet glue on here, and instead of letting that dry, I ran it through the Cuttlebug. I was already going to struggle because this side piece right here butted right up against the opening. So it took me a minute to cut that down, realize that was a hindrance because originally it was this length. So I had to cut that down. Once I cut that down, it was able to go through it. Now, the issue as it pertained to the glue was that the glue made it soft. So, so the die did not have a the paper was too fibrous. It was too the fibers were too flexible, so it wasn't doing a clean cut. So I had to apply more pressure, which means I had to add a shiv underneath, just a piece of cardboard. All right, so that was another issue. And then when I went to go put, because the paper underneath was still moist, because I had washi tape on the top, the moisture from underneath grabbed the washi tape. So when I went to pull the die off, it pulled off some of the paper. But what I did was I took a piece of the leftover paper and I fussy cut out this flower here and attached it, distressed the edges, and I just made it kind of more decorative for the opening. And then I did the same thing down here but this one's a little bit more camouflaged. So I think that turned out well. We shall see what happens in the next step. Oh my gosh, let me tell you, that was a struggle. Just take heed to some of my tips, okay? Or should I say what I've overcome, so that you will not have to do the same thing. Okay, so I'm going to come back and finish this part of the folio. Okay, I got to figure out what I want to do with it. So stay tuned. I'm just going to coffee stain this envelope. I don't want to do a full submerge because one, I don't want to have to wait for it to dry, and two, I'm going to just try and protect that as best I can, the window. So here we go. And I just need a quick wash so it's not so bright white. My intention is to decoupage on top of it using, I'll show you the napkin in just a minute. Okay, so I'm gonna let that dry. I'm tempted to use the dryer, but I may just have to be patient and weight. Yeah. It's not a crafter's strong suit. Okay, so this is one of the napkins that this is the napkin that I want to decoupage on here. And I'll probably do a rub-on or something like that just to decorate this envelope. And this will be part of the portfolio. Excuse me, not portfolio, the folio. Okay? All right, so stay tuned. Okay, so it's drying now. However, there's a little bit of a sheen there that I am not particularly feeling. Let me see if I can bring it closer so y'all can see it. See that? And I don't necessarily want that showing up. There we go. You see that? And that's from the glue. So what I'm going to try and do is buff off using a little nail buffer. Buff off some of the top coat of that glue to dull it down. Just a little bit. And that is what I've learned from Miss Andrea from Artie Mays. Just buffing off a little bit of that glue to get that shininess out of there. We don't need that. Okay. I probably could have, next time what I'll do is I'll probably use gesso to adhere it. And that way I don't have to worry about trying to get the shininess off of here. Okay, that's a little bit better. All right, and so I'm going to go forth and cut the rest of the bottom part off so that I can close one. I'm probably going to stitch around this off camera while it's open. Take this off of here. Well, I probably could just go forth and use it on here somewhere. Somewhere on here. Maybe I'll use it on the flap. Yeah, I'll just use that on the flap, right like that. And some on the opposite side. If I can pull this up. And again, I just painted the coffee on here so that I would not have to worry about compromising this part right here. I just didn't want to have to deal with removing or putting it back on there or anything like that. Okay, so once I close this is going to be, well, this part is going to get tucked under. So let me take this off of here because that's not going to be seen. But this part will be seen. So let me put this over here. Use that right there. And then I'll use a little bit more of this on the front to bring the two together, to tie them both together. I'm going to need to. Okay. There we go. And I'll just cut that off. And then I'll get to sewing. And the great part is I do not have to worry about double-sided adhesive, which is I don't have the best sewing machines. It's not top of the line. It's just a brother, so it has a tendency to get caught up on some of the I don't want to gunk it up with the double-sided adhesive, so I try and stay away from that when it's something that's going to go through the sewing machine. Okay. All right, I'm thinking it should be fine the way that it is, and I'm going to go forth and run it through now. All right. All right, next up. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and put the base of this down so that I can cover it. And then once that's glued, I will go forth and put this on and attach this in here and glue all of that down. Okay, so stay with me. I know it's a good hot mess going on here, but it's okay. You're following along just fine. Probably should have used double-sided. No, I was going to use double-sided tape, but I'm going to be sewing much of this down, so I don't really want to be monkeying around with that. All right, I think I want this side because I know what papers is going to go on that side. I don't necessarily know what papers is going to go on this side. Hi, baby, what you need? You need help? Okay. Okay, so before I go ahead and lay this paper inside of here and attach this and all that other stuff, I'm going to go ahead and ink the edges so that if there's any parts that aren't covered by the paper, it'll blend a little bit better. And also, so when I may end up going back over it with once the paper's down, but just want to get this part taken care of before we do that. Boring, but necessary. Okay, so this part is going to go here. Let's see. Yeah. This part is going to go here. So what I need to do is cut off the, tear off the excess. Actually, I'm going to need to ink this. Just a little bit. And actually, let me go ahead and tear it so that, okay, so this is going this way, that like that. Make sure that's in there. And then I'm going to go ahead, let me pull this down a little bit so that when I tear it, I'll be tearing off just what I need. Alright. This came off of the end of the envelope. And I said, let me keep it so I can see if I can make a cluster or something out of it. Oh, can we move along a bit? You know, sometimes I get on my own nerves. All right, actually, I didn't ink these edges. Not that I need to do that right now, but I just noticed it. So, the compulsion took over. I may end up having to cut those down again. Let me move this out the way. The desk is a mess. Alright, so let's get back to this. And I think I need to go up over the edge here. Don't need to be too grungy, just blendable. Okay, so this is where this is going. It fits. Does it fit good? Let's see. Perfect fit. Yep, and it is. Alright, so before I do that, I'm going to need to glue this down. That's Josh in the background, guys. Fear not. Fear not. Alright, so that's going to lay perfectly fine. I think I'm going to put some butterflies on here, stamp some butterflies on here just so that it can blend in with that. If that makes sense. Alright, so let me make sure I got this exactly where I want it. And then just apply a little bit of glue to hold one side of it in before I secure the other above the flap. Okay, so, and I'm going to sew. And sew up in here. So, I'll put a little bit of glue here, just to hold it in place. Okay, now we'll attach this in here, like so. You don't think that this all came together so easily, because it didn't. It took me a couple minutes sitting down thinking about how I wanted this to, actually, I originally was going to use some of our favorite YouTubers, Folio videos to kind of guide me through it. But I completely forgot about that once I got started, because I was enjoying the challenge of trying to construct it while also keeping in mind design elements. So, which is good, because as long as it meets the Folio standard, that's what I'm aiming for. And I can complicate it a little bit later on down the line, you know, with a little more flips and flaps and stuff like that. But truth be told, my biggest challenge was using items that were from around the house. I really wanted to trash the treasure type thing. I didn't want to use store-bought file folders or anything like that. I wanted to just create from scratch, if that makes sense, or create using items that would typically have gone into the garbage. So, like, this is junk mail, this is junk, and the papers are the things that would have been purchased or are from the kit. So, and I think I accomplished what I set out to do, which makes me happy. All right, so let me press this down to here first. Okay, so that is, for the most part, the folio that we are working with. Now I've got to work to get these to tie down once I get the pocket in place. Yeah, which will be this one. It'll be this, and then there will be possibly another pocket here. So I got to think on that, and in the meantime, stay tuned. I know I keep saying that, but just stay tuned. Okay, so now that that side is done, I am going to go ahead. I have already coffee painted these envelopes with the windows on them. And my intent here is to cut them, well, once I close them, but to be something like this. Good Lord. Staggered windows. Okay. And I'm going to use the base flap to adhere them in place. So it'll be, I think that's how it is. All that crinkly. I don't mind. I hope y'all don't. So it'll be something like so. Okay, and then once they're in place, so I mean, obviously I'm going to cut them down so that they're like that. The windows will be staggered. Okay, but the pockets will all be the same size, but they'll be able to flip down to put things inside of them. And then there'll also be journaling space here. Journaling space there. Okay, and in the space between this one and that one. So I'll work out the logistics of it all, but in the meantime, stay tuned. I'll be back. Guys, she's finally done. I have finally managed to finish this folio. Now, this isn't even the journal. Okay, this is the folio that will go inside of the vintage summer road trip journal. And let me tell you, it took me over a week to finish this because I just don't have a couple of hours to sit down and start to finish, bring a thing to fruition. And quite frankly, I didn't realize it until working on this, how much foresight you have to have in order to create things that have flips and folds. And you got to think about what that's going to fold into, what's going to, so on and so forth. So I tip my hat, and a big shout out goes to you creatives who make these on a regular basis and make it look easy. Like, and we've got Sonia Stover, one of the Crafty Trinity, and then we also have Tanya Samuels, and there's a few others, but those are the ones that are top of my head. So if I didn't mention your name, it's not because I don't like you, it's just because those are the two that I watch the most frequently and see the most of on their channels. And so thanks for the inspiration, ladies, but this is not my ministry. And so for those who are members of this channel or subscribers, you probably won't be seeing me doing a lot of this on camera. This is time consuming. It's thought provoking. I love a good challenge, but this was a bit more than I care to do, or at least record. So while I started off recording it, I had to turn the camera off and just kind of dive in and concentrate. So without further ado, let me show you what we got. So we have the cover. Don't mind the glare. You see the Cadillac from my kit, and the license plate. You see some of the scrap fabrics from the cover of the journal, and then this is the muted pattern paper from my kit. So now this is actually a journaling tag, and it's made from jelly prints. This is the collage card, and the doily that I'll put up in that corner. The doily that I sprayed on the channel, in the video on the channel. That's the jelly print. This is just coffee dyed devotional paper, and again, like I said, the scraps of fabric from the cover. And then here is some old planner paper that I coffee sprayed. You've seen that in another video. I mean, you guys have pretty much watched me do all of this. And then I just add a little bit of lace trim, crochet trim to the side to make it easy to pull it out of its little dedicated pocket here. So that glass window, when I die cut this out, I kept the inside that was left here, and I used that to form these flaps here. So the flaps, let me just bring y'all down so I don't have to keep lifting it back up and taking it back down. There we go. That's better. Is that better, guys? Okay, wonderful. Anything for you. Okay, so this was the flap. This was the cutout. And then I cut it in half. So the other part would have been down here. Well, I didn't cut it in half. I collaged on top of it. And then I cut it in half, sewed around the edges, put some eyelets in here, glued it to these flaps, and then used the string. And then inside, now this is a true junk journal, because aside from the decorative elements, everything I use to construct it is junk. Okay, so as you saw before, you may or may not have saw, this box was made from, I want to say Ritz, might have been a macaroni box, or it might have been a cracker box, one of the two. Either which way, it was garbage. Okay. Cereal box might have been, I don't know. So I used junk mail envelopes. Used my jelly print stickers. Some stamping. Sewed around the edge, and really I'll show you why I sewed up here. So the butterflies are a theme throughout. You'll pretty much see that in any project that I take on. So that's the little window there. And then on the inside, I have the Tim Holtz, like adventure. I don't know, it's a foam stamp set. But I sewed down here because I used the index cards in here, and I didn't want them going all the way down. So I just sewed right there. And so these are journaling cards that go on the inside. You saw me make these. And there's a journaling spot here, journaling spot here, journaling spot there. So there's plenty of space here within the folio to journal. Okay. So we have the next fold it flap folds down. Still nice area to write on. Writing area, writing area. The next one, writing area and writing area. And then, so it's kind of like a little bit of a waterfall. We close that back up. I'll tie that up when we're done. Okay, and on this side, we have a journal card and a belly band from my kit. Okay, now this is a journal card you saw me make here on the channel. Okay, there's that doily. No, actually, this is, yeah, it's one of the doilies. Yeah, it sure is. I didn't realize I used this color, but nevertheless. You know what? No, I think this is a winter doily. It's a turquoise. It might be the white with the, it's turquoise with white snowflakes on it, but you can't even tell because the spritz, the spray on the doily masks the pattern of the snowflakes, so you wouldn't even know that that's what it's for. So on the journaling card is a little tag. You know, you can put a little photo there, tuck it back in here, or use the tag somewhere else. And then on the back is some more of that planner paper, that coffee sprayed planner paper. And then along the side is some lace trim that I sewed in place, and I just sewed around pretty much all of the things in here. And I'm not a pro with sewing, so I don't try to do like straight stitches, because at some point something's going to get off center and it's going to start looking crazy. So as you can see in this little pocket here, this is the pocket that was right here. This is junk mail with the little window. This is a napkin that I decoupaged here that I got in Happy Mail. It has a little watermelon right there. I think it's so sweet, isn't it? Isn't it the cutest thing? And I love that it's kind of sketched, you know. So I actually sprayed this envelope down with coffee. When I painted it with coffee, that's what I did. And then I let it dry. And while it was still wet or damp, I opened it up, carefully taking it apart at the seams. And then it allowed me to do the decoupage and then sew where I wanted to sew and so forth. So that's what I did there. And then I add a little washi tape here to keep it kind of consistent with the rest of the journal, different spots in the folio. And those are little camera washi that I got from Faith from Faithful Mess. Can you see that? Faith, that came from that washi sampler set that you sent me in Happy Mail at some point. All right, and then the last piece here, this is a journaling spot as well. So, I mean, again, it's plenty of space to journal in the folio. Then we have another journaling card here, and this is what you see on the opposite side of the window, which is the little butterfly from my kit and picnic. Oh, and just let me, and then I added a little trim, and again, you can see that haphazard stitching, because why do it straight when you know you're not going to be able to keep it that way? It's called managing your expectations and your outcomes. All right, and let me just make sure that I share in these index cards, that came from I want to say Sonia Stover's Vintage Summer Road Trip Kit. I had the best time. The word text came from Felicia's, and I believe this one might have come from Sonia's kit. And let me see if I mentioned the other one. And the word beachy came from my kit. And then Road Trip came from Sonia's. Yeah, and then that ladybug came from mine. So while this was very challenging, I must say, it's definitely not something that I would do again on camera until I have a little bit more experience under my belt. It definitely pushed me out of my comfort zone, because I'm going to tell you, I did not know how to get some of these things accomplished, and I had to sit and think, which is I like to just do. You know, I have to think when it comes down to putting the grocery list together, and think when I gotta register the boy for school, and think when I gotta make appointments. I don't want to think when it comes to crafting. I just want to do. But with a little bit of thought and a little bit of planning, I think I created a really cute folio. Let me know what was your favorite part in the comment section. Drop in the description, in the comments, and let me know. Oh, and by the way, there's a little pocket back here, which case I'll put a little piece of a little note piece of paper to fold in half, and that has the lace stamping, and then the old-fashioned camera and the stamping there as well. I thought that came out really cute. So let me know what was your favorite feature of the Vintage Summer Road Trip Folio. That took me forever and almost killed me. I want to thank you guys for watching if you're still here. You know, my goodness. And until we're back here together on YouTube, stay encouraged, stay blessed. Also, there will be links below to all three of our kits if you are interested in them. And don't forget, stay tuned, because when I am done decorating the pages of this journal, after I put them in the signatures in, I will be giving this away in the month of July. So stay tuned. In a couple of days, you'll have your chance to win the Vintage Summer Road Trip Journal. Should I make a song about that? Anyways, bye for now.
If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Hit subscribe to join the crafty community, and be sure to click the bell for notifications of new uploads. Thank you so much for watching. Now stay tuned for more from Livie'S Lovelies, your inspirational craft channel. Bye for now.